Hi, this is Jim Connell. I'm a trustee. Welcome to the Libertyville Business Show. Wanted to do a video. I'm here at Nicholas Dowden. I'm on the side that is still up and running. Across the street, we have a lot of construction going on still. And I asked Jeff Cooper, who's going to jump on camera in a second, to give us an update and tell us a little bit about what's going on, what phase we're in, where we're headed, and what's happening. So welcome, Jeff.
Yeah, starting on the north side of the park here, behind me we got the Parks Division kind of working on some renovations to the building. That is all kind of preemptive and in preparation for the project we have planned for the north side of the park. That's anticipated for construction in 2024, but right now we've got our guys behind us. They're just doing some painting, some additional lighting, and some timed door locks on the building kind of to clean that up in preparation for that. So we're standing here in front of Nicholas Dowden Park South, which is kind of the heart of the stormwater management improvements that we've kind of been undergoing for the last year now. The project itself was, kind of two-phase, two-pronged. This was kind of the storage capacity component of it, reconstruction of this park, and then obviously we've been doing the sewer construction kind of upstream of this park. But behind us here, basically we took an existing park and we dug the whole thing out. We reconstructed it entirely, hauled out about 70,000 cubic yards of material, all in an effort to give water a place to go during rainfall events. And so we did so by providing about 38.5 acre feet of storage. That's kind of engineer speak for about 12 million gallons of water can be stored in this park at a given time. The project itself it's kind of a stage construction. So we've got, the whole thing was lowered sometimes as much as 9 feet in certain areas. But basically we constructed in a manner where we have this open grass area around the perimeter, which is what used to be here. But we did that about 9 feet lower than what it used to be. And then we have the softball fields kind of behind me as well. And those were also set at a lower elevation, but those are about 6 feet lower than they used to be on average. So basically what that means is, in a substantial rainfall event, that low area around the perimeter, you will see that fill up with water first, and that's the intent. That's where water goes first. If we get a rainfall event that's truly substantial enough to need all the storage, the softball fields are also designed to be underwater. And again, we can, 12 million gallons of water can be stored in this park. And basically what that means is it gets held there basically until the pipes around it can get caught up. And once they do, it'll start to slowly drain out and get out of there, and it would be filling up in a purposeful location versus the upstream subdivisions. As far as the overall project timeline, we're very kind of happy with where we stand today. The project as a whole was always intended to have everything ready by winter of 2023. We're standing here, mid-September, and we're about a week away from having the last pipes in the ground. So functionality-wise, we're where we wanted to be. Internal goals, we actually committed to having softball fields ready. I think the initial commitment was fall of 2024. We're well ahead of schedule on that. We anticipate we will have the Libertyville Girls Softball Association playing here in the spring of 2024. So basically what that leaves us with is kind of the grass area around the perimeter. We are still committed to that. We will be probably spending time well into 2024 on that area. Right now it's really just making sure we can get proper grass to grow. That'll be a kind of a combination of overseeding, weed abatement, fertilization, frequent watering, and we'll be hitting it with a steady dose of that basically through the rest of this year and as long into next year as it takes to get it established. As far as the area behind us, again, I mentioned, we had a lot of coordination with the Libertyville Girls Softball Association on this project. One thing we had to do is we had to get stuff out of the center of the park in order to provide that stormwater storage component, things like the storage building behind me. So there was an old storage building. We did have to demo that. So we did construct a new storage building, which is kind of outside the flooding limits. The area you see behind me here with the poles, that is all batting cages. Again, there were batting cages out there. They were in the middle of the park. Those had to be relocated. So we did work with the LGSA on location and shape and size and the whole thing. But those are kind of be ready for use as well here in the spring of 2024 by LGSA. As far as project landscaping, it's a question that comes up from residents a lot. There's still work to be done. We do have some landscaping, kind of decorative landscaping to happen up here on the higher end near the softball buildings and whatnot to kind of frame that. There are a lot of questions about trees, perimeter trees and whatnot. There are no perimeter trees in the current project right now. That is something the village will be reviewing. Right now the goal is to get the current contract done with the contractors we have in place. That does not call for perimeter trees and whatnot, but it is something we are well aware that the residents have asked about. It is something that the village will be assessing as we move forward. As far as the softball field component of the project, again, the layout is generally the same. We have 4 perimeter softball fields all with the same layout with outfields kind of connecting, but we did try to kind of improve the situation here. One big thing was ADA accessibility. There was really no accessibility on the old fields. It was all really just grass. And obviously when you lower the park as much as we did, that is a challenge. But we're kind of standing on one of the many new walks that we did implement in this project, all at proper slopes, and again, give someone the ability to access it from local rights of way and roadways and get down into the park properly. As far as the fields themselves, obviously new backstops and dugouts, everything had to be replaced because we did have to gut everything. So we did kind of work with LGSA just to make sure we put things back to proper modern standards because the old fields were older. And then the challenge of doing all this while trying to save trees around the perimeter. Obviously, again, we're lowering 9 feet. That is a challenge. You can kind of see maybe a little bit behind me there. We did kind of position these walkways and the slopes and everything in a manner with tree wells and whatnot to try to kind of frame some of those perimeter features that we knew were important to the residents that live in this area, as well as those park goers that do want that as a backdrop. As far as the project as a whole, though, we're super pleased at staff level, where we stand today on timing of everything. I mean, we're more or less 13 months or so. We'll be about 14 months from commencement of when we started redoing this park. $15 million worth of improvements went into this area basically to address the stormwater needs. We've kind of hit major milestones. Again, softball fields being ready for use here in the spring, kind of ahead of where we initially anticipated, meeting everything we wanted to prior to the winter of 2023, just from a functionality standpoint to add that protection for residents in the area. But it is still very much an active construction site. We do get a lot of questions on, bare spots on the grass, weeds in some of those open areas. Still fully committed to this job. We will stay committed to this area until the job is done. So we, again, heavy dose of addressing weeds and overseeding and everything this fall. We absolutely will be back in 2024, still doing the same stuff, trying to get grass to where it needs to be. And on top of all that, we do have some additional drainage improvements planned for the lower basin, that outside grass perimeter where we're getting grass to go right now. We're cutting in sand seams, which is an additional feature to try to help with stormwater drainage down there. It is a very, very low, very, very flat area. So this is another measure that we need to put in the ground. That cannot happen until grass grows. So again, you will see activity out in that perimeter grass area well into 2024. But again, we anticipate this to be an active construction site for a while, and we're excited about where we stand today.
Jeff, a quick question for you. Should people use the park? What can be used, what cannot be used? Sure. You say active construction site. So is the mission to stay out of this area? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'd say as of today, standing here in September 2023, right now, yes. We would ask that people stay off everything right now because nothing has been kind of activated for full use. Obviously, if people want to use the sidewalks through, that's fine. We ask that you stay off the grass area, stay off the fields for now. Come spring of 2024, when this gets activated for softball use, obviously then the fields, we've deemed that the fields are ready for use at that point. So the softball fields, that would be fine. We do anticipate, like I mentioned, that lower bowl, that outside grass area, we will still be working towards achieving stuff out there. We do anticipate putting up additional signage to try to keep people off the grass. We do ask that people stay off those outside areas where we're getting grass to grow here for probably well into 2024.